Hey party people, it's Cliff. By now you've probably heard about how Sony PlayStation is going to remove the discs or stop making video game discs by 2028. And that sucks. I think they're going to shoot themselves in the foot. But there was one news article, whoever the fuck said it, whoever, blah, blah, blah. But the quote stood out to me, and that's the bait, right? It said, hey, you know what? When DVD, when CD players were removed from laptops, nobody really cared and nobody really complained. And it's going to be the same thing with the new PlayStation. And in a way, on the surface level, you could say, well, yeah, that's kind of right. Nobody complained. Laptops went their own way. And then they made external CD players. And that's the same thing with the PlayStation. But the problem is with that statement is that it doesn't take into fact what a laptop does versus what a PlayStation does. And a laptop does a whole bunch of different things. And you could also buy an external DVD case. And when they took out the CD drive of a laptop, the laptop got thinner, they got lighter, they got more battery space in them, and they became more useful. But when you take a DVD or the Blu-ray player or the discs out of a PlayStation, the PlayStation doesn't become more useful. It becomes less useful. Now, granted, you can make that argument that says, oh, well, 90% of the games, are just downloaded now. And, nobody likes to have physical media. But I disagree. There's been a resurgence of old school records and old school DVDs and media, and it's because these giant corporations want to keep taking your stuff. I mean, the PlayStation, after you don't have any discs anymore, what it is it's going to be the same as video games that require proprietary, internet, a 100% internet connection all the time. And what essentially you're buying is you're buying a rental machine that you're going to plug in, you're going to download all your stuff, and then at the whim of Sony, they could just delete the games out of your library just like that. Whereas if you hold a physical piece of media, a physical copy, you have that and you get to keep that forever. It is yours. And that is the product. Everybody, and the PlayStation doesn't become more useful like laptops do. The PlayStation essentially becomes a mini computer that you just connect to the internet. So why even have it? I have a computer. I have Steam. I have, other methods of getting video games and downloading them and playing them. And besides, Sony doesn't have any great proprietary video games. It's not like the Switch, like Mario Brothers or Zelda, or Xbox, like they have Halo. And I don't know what else Xbox does, but Sony doesn't have anything. I mean, maybe Crash Bandicoot or Rayman or one of those, but eventually what I think is going to happen is that, people are going to realize, hey, you download all your video games and download this, and it's not one big fell swoop, right? It's all these little things, right? You buy a game and then you don't have access to it. I mean, I remember when I was trying to buy a game that was only available for the iPhone and not available for the Android. And when I switched phones from an iPhone to an Android, I couldn't find that game anywhere. And I was kind of upset because I paid for it and now I can't have it. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to make that a little mental note, for next time. I'm like, hey, what's the game that I'm going to spend my money on? And that's what's going to happen. And I think the backlash is already warranted. And I don't know. I think it's a bad move. And that's really it. That's the difference. That one statement. It's like, yeah, CDs got removed from laptops, but laptops got better because of it. PlayStation is getting worse. So I hope you enjoy that. I'm heading to a movie night with a couple of friends, and we're gonna watch a movie called Stay Tuned, 1992. It's a great a classic, I guess you could say, in that world. But anyway, I hope you have a good day, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.